4 years ago, Ashlee Chapman didn't know how to build relationships. She was very transactional, and she also didn't know what she was wanting to do with her life. And all she knew, she didn't want to be in college. Now, today, 25 years old, she's got a business based strictly on relationships in real estate and wholesaling, and she's going to teach you how she's been able to make that transition here today on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, and I'm super excited to have Ashlee Chapman from San Diego on the line with us today. Ashlee is young, she's energetic, she's 25 years old, and she has built a business in real estate for the last 4 years that a lot of people haven't been able to do in their lifetime. So excited to talk to her about that. But before we get started, have you checked out all the resources that we have for Airbnb on fearlesskyle.com? The Airbnb profit calculator, our shopping list. There's a link to our Airbnb course, which is at a 20% discount right now. Not sure how long that will last for. There's tons of things to explore right there on our website. So I encourage you to go over and do that. You can even book a call with me if you have questions about Airbnb or real estate. fearlesskyle.com/consultation. So a lot of resources there on fearlesskyle.com. You can have a lot of fun checking that out and connecting with me. I'd love to connect with you as well. And let's get into it now with Ashlee Chapman as we're talking about real estate, being a realtor, flipping houses, wholesaling, and doing it at such a young age. And especially one of my favorite things, relationships. Hey guys, welcome into the show. It's a pleasure to have Ashlee Chapman here from San Diego, California. Ashlee, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, guys. Hello.
All right, Ashlee. So let's jump into it. What is your most interesting real estate investing story?
My most interesting real estate investing story is probably one of the most recent flips that we did. The owner actually passed away and had a book in the house of a bunch of cats that were actual cats that he owned, named like White Chin, like Fluffy, like all these things. And we have photos of this book from this house. It is hilarious. We made a video about, we called it Dead Cat Avenue. It's
no.
funny, but real story.
How many cats are we talking?
The neighbors were like saying there were like 50 cats roaming around.
Oh gosh.
So with serious cat fetish.
I'm sure the neighbors were happy about that. I've heard a crazy cat lady. I haven't heard a crazy cat dude yet, but I guess they're out there too, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Awesome. Well, Ashlee, excited to have you on the show today. And you're living in a place that I went to college. So I have a place in my heart for San Diego. And man, I'm always interested in like how people do real estate out there just with the crazy high prices. And we'll probably get into that a little bit too. But I want to hear the story from the get-go. I know you're young and you've been doing real estate for about 4 years now. But what was life like for Ashlee before you got into real estate?
Yeah. What was life like? Dang, life was good, right? Life is still real good. No, before I got into real estate, I went to college. Didn't graduate from college. I ended up dropping out, but I went to college for a little bit to play sports. I had a full ride scholarship to play volleyball.
Nice.
Worked when I was in college because, I had a car payment, I had rent, I had stuff to pay for. So really quickly, I learned, like, I was going to school for business, and it was just, I hated showing up to class, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Hated it. My coach kind of gave me an ultimatum my sophomore year and was like, hey, you are one of the best players I have, but if you don't show up to class and you aren't pulling the grades, like, I have to pull your scholarship. And that right then in that second, I was like, this is just not for me. I'm here for the wrong reason. Dropped out of school, went into car sales, started doing finance, kind of hit a cap. And then I was living in Seattle. I was like, all right, I don't want to be in car sales forever. Is a grind, right? Real estate's a grind, but there's an end goal,
Right.
Unless you own the dealership, it's not that fun. So
Right.
I dropped everything, moved to San Diego sight unseen, and became an inside sales agent, worked with Hans, and started making some phone calls.
Wow. Okay. So going back to one thing you said there, you said college and, doing what at the time you thought probably you loved, but then it sounds like you kind of just got burnt out. What was it about college and, going to classes that just wasn't for you?
I'm gonna be straight up. College is it's a social exercise. It
Yeah.
teaches you how to be social. Like there are a lot of things and stuff that you can do, but I if I would have applied myself in school, I could have probably gotten a 4.0. Same with high school. But it just like I was learning business, but I grew up in business. My parents owned businesses, and it was the language of business and entrepreneurship. I already knew it.
Right.
And my parents were just like, "What are you doing? Like go start something great." But it's not going to start with a college degree. And
Your parents were encouraging you not to do college?
yeah.
Good. I love that. Okay. Keep going.
I mean, my dad just, I called him and told him that my coach was giving me this ultimatum. And like, my dad was like, you should quit. Like, what are you doing? Like, volleyball, you're never going to be a pro, you know? And I loved volleyball and I loved basketball and I loved just sports in general, but it was the wrong reason. I was there for the wrong reason. I hated classes. My teachers absolutely despised me. They were emailing my coach, like, Ashlee does not show up to class. I was getting barely passing, like C's, and I just was like, this is a waste of my time. And it's a waste of the money that the school is giving me to be here to play sports if I'm not showing up. So it just was like, the best way I can describe it is like people like push college on people. And it's like, that is not the answer. The answer is self-development and working.
Yes.
And that was the answer for me. And I just ran with that.
Okay. So what was the relief when you said, no, I'm doing this thing on my own. I'm going into car sales. I'm dropping out of college.
Oh, just like it was almost like a time relief. Like I felt like I had so much time, like I was like, oh shoot, I have a real job. I'm making real money.
Mm-hmm.
Like something that my fellow athletes and my like everybody I went to school with in college, like something that they didn't understand that I had understood when I was in high school because I had to work. And I was like, dang, I have like the world is mine. It was
Mm-hmm.
just like I can go, and in car sales, like you can go make whatever kind of money you want. So, similar to real estate, I was just like, this is it. This I can make my paycheck however much I want to make it.
So you mentioned something about college and, you said people are being lied to that they have to go to college. I'm a believer that, hey, if you're going to be like something really in terms of specialty, lawyer, doctor, nurse, yes, education is absolutely the way. Do I think you should be getting an associate's and taking a bunch of history and math classes at the same time? No, I don't think so. I think it can be expedited a lot more. But I mean, I look back, I know teachers, that are $200,000 in debt and only making $40,000, $50,000 a year. And they're like, wow, I can't even think about starting a family because I'm up to my eyeballs in debt right now.
Right.
So where do you, and first of all, let the audience know, if you don't mind me asking, how old you are. And also like, what did coming out of college, not just dropping out, but knowing that you didn't have any college debt, what did that do for acceleration in your career?
So I'm 25.
Okay.
25 years old. Uh, Coming out of college without any debt and no degree was like, I was actually extremely grateful
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody has that opportunity. But at the same time, I did work to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I earned the scholarship that I had. I was a great athlete. But coming out of that, I knew athletics and all of that stuff was like not my life. Like it wasn't forever. And it just felt like I mean I think the best thing is like I had a lot of gratitude because you know, it just wasn't, I was just like, dang, this isn't everything, you
Right.
know? Car sales at the time for me was everything. I was like, dang, I'm making real money.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome. Like, maybe a teacher should go do this in the summer to pay off their debt. Like, come on.
There you go. I like it. So you eventually kind of burnt out on the car sales too. What was the reason for that?
Because you
Yeah.
cap out on your earnings, you know, like it was like you sell 20 cars a month. Yeah, you're making 10 grand,
Hmm.
but you're working 70 hours a week to hit that number.
Okay.
And you're just working a lot. I mean, bell to bell, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all day on the weekends. And so that cap of that income was just like, this is monotonous.
Yeah.
You know, I was working with like senior people, people that I still talk to who had been there for years and they don't remember their kids growing up. And they have a lot of hate in their eyes, you know, they're there constantly. The clock starts over every month. So you still have to hit these numbers and it's hard.
Yeah. So now being in real estate for 4 years, you probably, I'm assuming, were attracted to it because you can literally figure out what number you wanted to make and be able to get there and put your own team in place and run your own business. So give us a little bit of an idea of what Ashlee's real estate business looks like today.
Yeah, so Ashlee's real estate business, Chapman Investments, is big into wholesaling. If you don't know what wholesaling is, you know, working with contracts and investors. So, you know, now my day is, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes on the weekends, and leveraging people, delegation,
Mm-hmm.
and the life I actually want to live. I got back from Tulum. I was gone for about 10 days
Nice.
and I was still doing business while I was there. And yeah, I had to answer emails here and there and whatever, but I have boots on the ground here that will take care of anything. So if I leave for 6 months, it still runs. And that's something I didn't have in car sales. So my business is very much so a team effort and collectively really cohesive.
That's awesome. So I'm all about outsourcing. I love hearing about people who are doing the same thing. Um, you probably had to get to a certain point where you were able to outsource. How long were you doing it on your own before bringing in other teammates?
Oh shoot. Well, you know, I had a stint there where when I was just an ISA, obviously that's all I did. And then after that I kind of ventured off on my own, did my own thing. And that was about a year. And then, you know, I met the team that I'm with now, the Middleton group, and like from that moment it was just, we're all equal, we're such a team. So I know I have so much trust and have so many reliable people within this group that I literally walk away and I don't worry. That still doesn't take away from like my high D on the disc profile where I want to be involved.
Same,
But
same.
yeah, like I really, really like
Yeah,
love my clients and I want to be involved, but um if I'm gone, I know that they're reliable and trustworthy and they are ethical. That's super big and they will get it done.
that's great. So, just so people know, I mean, you are mainly doing wholesaling, but you're also doing flips. You're also a realtor. If anyone's looking for a good realtor in San Diego, hit up Ashlee. But what does a team look like? What are the I guess roles? What are the positions that you're bringing in to allowing yourself to be able to, like you said, go away for 6 months and know it's still going to operate?
Yeah, so that's super funny that you say that. So I am a part of the Middleton group. Luke Middleton, one of my biggest mentors, and he is the team lead.
And
He
this
and
is
I
for
have,
as a realtor, correct?
yeah, he's a
Yep.
real estate agent. We're brokered by Big Block Realty here in San Diego. He is also one of my partners and somebody that brought me onto the team as a partner. And he has an executive assistant. Her name is Sarah Pika. She's really all in one. She does everything. She even cold calls. And so those two people right there, Luke is super strong. We have a construction company. So when I leave, all of our deals that we're doing, they're taken care of through that. Sarah came on recently and she's just blown it out of the water. Recently just signed up a 7% listing agreement from a cold call that she made. So, it's like when you have like all these people have these big, big teams, we just have a couple of really good people and that's all it takes. And if they can run the operation, because it's just the systems in place, right? So if you can kind of plug in and play, that's all that you need.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to me. It sounds like the group that you have through real estate as a realtor is also very much focused as investors more so than realtors. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Cool. So, I come across a lot of realtors that are stuck in this real estate as a realtor mindset. The conventional sales, you need a lender, you need to put 20% down. There's ones that are like, oh, wholesaling, that's not something that I deal with. That just seems too like, whatever. They keep it at arm's length. How would you, like, if someone's listening right now and they're stuck in that conventional real estate mindset, and they hear you as a realtor doing mainly real estate investments, how do you help them get out of that mindset?
Oh man, that is you kind of got to show them the way.
Yeah.
If anybody is actually listening right now and they're just doing real estate transactions, but they're not capturing the additional income as a stream of income, because that's why I'm an agent. I'm an agent because it's a stream of income. I do wholesaling because it's a stream of income, and I'm doing flips because it's the big payday, right?
Mm-hmm.
They really need to sit down and decide what their niche is going to be. What does that look like? And stop thinking of it in terms of volume, right? If you look under my license number, it's like, oh, shoot, whatever. Like, I don't work with clients on a day-to-day, but in the back end of things, I'm doing way more deals than the average agent is.
Yeah.
So they, instead of chasing these commissions, right? 2.5%, 3.5% on a listing, all these, like, these are small numbers, right? Like, think about that in one deal in 10 days. If you could make 30 grand instead of 10,
Yeah.
what would that look like for you and for your business, right? So they need to stop chasing the money. They need to make the money. And that is something that that switch only happens for somebody when they do one, and then it's game over. They're on with it.
I love it. Plus it's like a tenth of the paperwork.
No, I'm saying, I'm like, shoot, it's just easy.
Yeah. What's it like doing deals in San Diego? I got to ask that because, I'm over here in Fresno, and like an average purchase price for a deal in Fresno is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 180 to like 250. And we're going to resell it for like 300 to 350. Those probably sound like little shacks to you guys in San Diego. So, I mean, that's where you started real estate, and that's where you're, doing most of your deals. So it probably hasn't really impacted you a lot, but have you noticed just like, is there any sort of difficulty that you have because of the prices of real estate at all over there?
No. I don't have difficulty because I've worked super hard to build relationships with great hard money lenders.
It's great.
People who, people are like, oh, I got to make commissions to make a down payment to do one flip, right?
Right.
Okay, chasing the money. But before I even had money, I worked really hard to get in with these people and create a relationship so that they trusted me.
Mm-hmm.
So the prices were just like, as long as the deal worked and it was above 10% on the return, it's like, it's a no-brainer. And through building those relationships, it made it really a lot easier to do more deals.
That's great. We keep talking about relationships here. I'm big on networking, big on relationships. Does that come naturally to you, or is that something that you had to work on?
That's something I had to work on.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
I was a true salesperson back 5 years ago, 4
Yeah.
years ago. When I was in car sales, it was about closing the deal to
Right.
me. It wasn't about the person. And that's what they taught me in car sales. It was about the numbers. They didn't care about the people, right? And it's still true today, I bet, in that dealership that I worked in, that they don't care about their customers. They care about the money.
Mm.
And so when I came here, and specifically when I started as an inside sales agent, I was prospecting foreclosures. And I learned really quickly that these people needed somebody. Like, they really needed somebody, because what they were dealing with in foreclosure and bankruptcy and these really horrible life experiences, they didn't care about me buying their house or anything. They just wanted somebody to hear them out. And so I flipped a switch, and I just was like, what is it that I can do for them? And if it's to just be an open ear, that made their world. I just did a short sale that I had been following up with this guy for 3 years, one of the first cold calls I ever made. And he specifically told me 3 years ago he would never work with me. I was nothing to him, and I just kept on him. And now I mean, closed on the short sale November 30th. All of his finances are straightened out, and he just is, I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He's just like so thankful. And it was seriously because I listened to him, and that's all he wanted.
I think this is a really good speaking point to a lot of people that have thought about getting into wholesaling, but think it feels slimy. There's a lot of people who have said that, even ones that have gotten into it and maybe they've had the wrong person teaching them, or maybe the wrong information, the wrong approach, the car salesman approach, like you said, the transactional idea. But this can be really helping someone, and like you said, building relationships in order to help other people, and just being a shoulder for people to either cry on, or an ear for people to vent to. And so I think that's really powerful. So is that something now that you look at, where, you're 4 years into real estate and looking back 4 years ago, do you feel like you're making an impact on a daily basis?
I do. I really, really do. And I don't typically like to say that I have any regrets, but if I could go back and do car sales just one more time, I would change the way that I did things, and I probably would have sold 40, 50, 60 cars a month just by being a human being.
Yeah.
And that is not a skill. That is a trait. And people really need to exemplify that. And in wholesaling specifically, like, if you want to be in wholesaling and you're making these calls, you have to listen to these people. It is extremely important. It is the only thing that they care about. They don't care about your cash offer, and they do not care about if you're a real estate agent, and they don't care if you've been on a podcast, let me tell you. So I hold it dear to my heart.
That's good. So I'm assuming maybe you brought it up to someone that you were on a podcast and they didn't care.
No, I didn't. But I actually recently, we did put a deal under contract, $900,000 below the after renovation value in La Jolla. And the seller, he's like a data scientist, and he's like, oh, I looked you up, and I can't, I don't have a huge online presence, to be quite honest with you, but he's like, oh, I looked you up, and like, I ended up having to send him my proof of funds, just all this stuff, right? He didn't want to work with me because, we're buying a $1.6 million property, and he's like, he knows I'm 25 years old, right? And it's just, you'll get that occasionally with some of the bigger deals. People will be like, you can't handle this. I'm like, no, I can.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. We'll kind of leave it with that one. Has age been something that you've had to overcome? Especially, I mean, you started this at 21, 22 years old. What's that been like?
Um, I think it's been a little bit difficult, but I think it's more so difficult with the industry, not with the clients, because one of my clients recently just got a $2 million listing, and the seller, she's like, you're young and I just love it, like I work hard for her instead
Mhm.
of somebody who's been in this business for 30 years. So the clients I don't have an issue with. It's the industry, even the leaders in this industry, who kind of just like brush you to the side, and I'm not in with them, and I don't want to be.
Mhm.
I know we all have to earn our place, but ultimately it's just doing the work and earning the respect. But that's the most difficult thing I think I've had to overcome, is just with more so peers within the business.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Well, hey, Ashlee, how can people get connected with you?
You can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook. I do beers and calls with Greg McDaniel on occasion.
Nice.
Um, yeah, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to reach out to me directly and talk about wholesaling, my phone number is 858-401-6927. And yeah, hit me up. Let's chat.
Perfect. Let's get that phone number one more time.
858-401-6927.
Perfect. And what is your handle on Instagram?
It is Ashlee Chapman, ASHLEECHAPMAN.
Perfect. Ashlee, any last words for our audience before we log off?
Don't chase the money, make the money.
I like it. I like it. Hey, Ashlee, thanks so much for jumping on here to the Fearless Investor Podcast, helping our audience to conquer the world of investing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, show notes for this one. And how awesome is it that Ashlee's just giving out her phone number there? Please use it with respect. I would appreciate that. I'm sure she would as well. fearlesskyle.com/Ashlee Chapman are the show notes for this one. Ashlee is spelled with two E's. So it's fearlesskyle.com/Ashlee, ASHLEE Chapman, just like it sounds. And you can get the show notes for that one. I think one of the greatest things that we talked about in this podcast today was relationships and how you make that transition. There's a lot of people that are not good at building relationships, either because they're introverts or they're transactional, or they don't feel like they're actually able to make an impact. So they just kind of, keep people at arm's length. And I think this is a great teaching point, especially in wholesaling, where things can feel like it's very transactional, that you can build relationships and you can make an impact and you can really help people. I think if you can look at it that way, there's really nothing stopping you from getting into wholesaling or real estate in general. So thanks for letting us help you to conquer the world of investing today here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.